This is a great image of a respectable, classy, beautiful woman.
For you to point out this well-dressed sister here to make me feel some type of way about myself becomes a problem.
Let me get you.
Reason I have never said I do is because I don't.
I've been married, and I couldn't sign up for bad sex.
Test drive.
So if we enter a relationship with anything that's about me, then I don't believe that we're ready.
Mingle on a Saturday night.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Single on a Saturday Night. I am Dedan Tolbert. To do some quick introductions, I am an advice columnist, relationship coach, as well as the host of the Dedan Tolbert Show, which airs 7 nights a week at DedanTolbert.com. It's glad to see everybody in the audience. We're just going to go ahead and do some quick introductions, then we'll get started with tonight's conversation.
I am Shelly Williams, executive producer of Urban Expressions, and now our new spinoff, which is Single on a Saturday Night. And it is inspired by the young lady coming up next, but one day I was just sitting there thinking about my next move in life and thinking about how single I was. I think it was a Saturday night and I was pretty lonely, so Single on a Saturday Night was just the thing. I was listening to Jay's song and it was just like, wow, wonderful. Thank you, Jay, for that song. So I thank you for everybody for tuning in, and this is the new direction of Urban Expressions. You might have known me for a lot of years. I've been on TV for about 20-something years, but this is going to be something new. You're going to hear more stories about me, and I'm going to be real transparent in everything I do, so don't judge me. This is a no judgment zone. And we actually assembled a great cast, and they're going to introduce themselves. And up next, the young lady who inspired the whole song. Go ahead, the whole show. Go ahead, Jade.
Hello, my name is Jade Austin, and I'm a singer and a songwriter, and I play like this much guitar. And the concept of Single on a Saturday Night was actually born on a Saturday night. I got dumped, and I wrote a bunch of songs about it, and I guess Shelly heard it, and here we are. This is crazy, all these people here. So I'm single, and I'll be talking about being single, and I'm looking forward to it.
I've been single for a little over a year, and I'm just looking forward to great conversation with everyone.
I'm Alicia Cheatham, and I'm a single woman, a friend of Shelly's. And I'm just looking forward to just sharing my views and just hearing everybody else's insights on being single and, you know, just good conversation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karima, but I am known to my Facebook group as Miss K. I am a successful business consultant, a proud single mother of 3, and I am living proof that being single, it's not a curse. To me, it's wonderful. And when you have such a big life filled with family and friends and loved ones, I never really noticed that I was even single. But because there is a single word in the dictionary, I will say yes, that I am single with this smile on my face, and I look forward to sharing and caring and providing and listening, and hopefully picking up some things and having a lot of great discussions.
I go by the name of Francisco Vega III, better known to friends and family as Just Frank. I'm an artist and a clothes designer. I'm single, newly single, so I might be hitting you up on Facebook or something. All right?
All right, thank you for the introductions. There's a lot of great people in the audience, a lot of great friends. We have some spiritual advisors. We also have some health and fitness advisor. His name is Mr. David Miller, and he's going to tell us that we shouldn't just be single and just sitting around eating bonbons or something. He's going to tell us we should be single, getting ourselves together, making sure we're healthy, and he's going to tell us more about that. See, I can't tell you much about it because that's not really my angle, so we're gonna learn more about that. And I also have Mr. Reverend Michael Heath. He's gonna tell us the spiritual end about being single and why we're single. Maybe God can tell us what we need to know. But we're gonna turn it right over here to Mr. Dedan Talbert, and he's gonna get the conversation rolling.
Yeah, thanks, Shelley. Let's get into it, man. Like I said, we want to have a open, honest, spirited debate / conversation about just being single on a Saturday night. I'm hearing a lot of different things. Some people are very content being single. Some people not so much. So let's get into it. Let's talk about, you turn on your TV, your radio, your Essence magazine, Ebony magazine, whatever it is. It seems like there's some type of discussion on why so many single black women find themselves in their predicament. So, from a male perspective, we want to talk about it. From a female perspective, we're going to talk about some of the reasons that play a huge role in so many single black women in today's society. Jade, you want to start it off?
Sure. So recently I had a conversation with a guy who always has an interesting perspective. And I'm going to find the right words to say this, but basically he said that a lot of times, now this is going to be controversial, y'all. Don't be mad at me. I didn't say it, but I think it's interesting. And it's a black guy. And he said, a lot of black women are single because they've been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed to think that our role is not second to the man, is not to support the man. Our role is to be, I got this, and if he can come along, cool, and then if not, then that's fine too. And the person used the example of pretty much every other race of a woman, and said that in every other race, marriages and are fine, are normal, but and he said that relationships are normal, and it's women know their place in a relationship, and that's the problem in the black community, is that women don't know their place in a relationship, and in a family structure in general.
It's funny that you said that. Just to kind of piggyback, I actually just did a whole show on that, and I co-sign 100%. It's not controversial. It's very accurate, actually. Unfortunately, African American women are the only race in the world that I know of that will exemplify and promote being single. You look at white women, you look at Chinese women, Asian women, even a lot of Hispanics. It's even the African race. You go back to our ancestry, you're actually ostracized if you're single. You are based, your success in the community, your status in the community in Africa is your family, is the home you provide, how you support raise your kids, support your husband. So literally, there's nothing glamorous about being single. If you're there preparing yourself to be found by that man, that's great. But don't, it's not a badge of honor that I think a lot of women are wearing it as.
What he was saying wasn't so much about being single, but it was just more the role in a relationship, and that's why we end up single after we may have 1 or 2 relationships. So it's not like we promote being single, but we just don't know how to be in a relationship. But it's from our past. A lot of us don't have fathers. A lot of us have a lot of baggage from the past. We're sitting here, the whole point of this is to make sure we don't get stuck in that mindset of, I didn't have a dad and maybe I don't want to be submissive. We're trying, I can't tell you why I'm not married, or I can't tell you, but I would say that I had some bad thoughts in my mind about men. I didn't want to serve anybody until I got closer to God, until I understood what being submissive was. Then I realized, okay, I am going to be single for the rest of my life if I feel like I want a man to cook for me every day. And that was how I thought. If you are my man, you must cook for me, you must clean for me. I know that's wrong. But until I got closer to God, did I realize that that's not the way I want to go. And I don't want anybody else to be in the same thoughts. When I thought about it, I don't want anybody else to think the same way I was thinking. So this is supposed to be empowering us to really get out of that mindset. We are servants of the Lord first. So we do have to serve. We do have to be submissive. So I would say, I can honestly say that's why I am single, because I had the wrong mindset the whole time I was dating. So.
Well, can I say something? I'm sorry. This is really killing me right now. I feel like that the example that has been shown to us since way back, we're looking at, you have your mother who is raising a single, she's a single mom raising 3 and 4 kids because the man is not there. And unfortunately, it's situations where our black men are incarcerated, they're making babies and they're not taking care of them. So it's not that we don't want to be so-called submissive or have the man lead, but we don't have an example of what it looks like for a man to lead. Explain to me what it means for a man to lead. Like, we need to see what that looks like. We don't know what it looks like because our fathers weren't there. Our grandfathers weren't there. Our brothers, they don't show up. You have your uncles. So the example of the man in your family is non-existent. So you don't know what it looks like when you have a good man, or what a good man looks like, because there's no example of it. For a lot, I'm not saying straight across the board, but on the whole, the example of the black man has not been a positive one as a black woman. So, you know, and I keep hearing wifey, you know, she's wifey material. What does wifey material mean? Like, because to me, it's different for everybody.
We're going to answer that tonight.
You know, it's not one set thing of what a wifey is, because it's different for everybody. You know, I'm looking for something different in a man, and people in the audience looking for somebody different. You could be looking for, you know, well, you're married now, but I'm sure your opinion of what you wanted your wife to be or look like or act could be totally different than what he's looking for. He said he's looking for a babysitter. And there's somebody out here that could be a babysitter for him, and he might marry her.
One of the things I like to do, and just kind of piggyback off what Shelley was saying from a biblical perspective, and then I want to respond to what you were saying as far as what men look for, is that, and I'll just be brief, if you go back to Genesis in the beginning of time, and this is from a biblical perspective, talking about God, Adam and Eve were in paradise, the Garden of Eden, paradise, you know what I'm saying? God saw Adam, you know, in paradise, and said, Adam, you're lonely. You know what I mean? These are people in paradise, and God saw that they were lonely. So my question is to everybody here, the happily single people, how are you happily single? What makes you think that God doesn't see that you're single on this earth? And Adam was in paradise, and God saw that he was lonely. So
I am Danielle Patterson, and I am happily single. And I am happily single because I am learning me. God put me here in this body so that I could develop it, so that I could cultivate it, so that I could grow it, so that I could pass on my knowledge and wisdom to others. Eventually, will that lead to a significant other who is my marriage mate? Because we're using the definition of single as not married. Because I think that most of the people in this audience probably have a significant other. At the very least, you have support in your life. At the very least, you have someone there who loves you. And I think that my first problem is that there is, apparently, we're not fulfilled because we're not married. I think that's the first issue. We haven't developed love because we're not married. We haven't created success because we're not married. And I think that that is the very first. As I sit here and I listen to people sit in judgment of me, I don't sit and judge anybody else. We have to live our lives. If we're looking at societies across the board and around the world, and we're saying because in Africa or in Asia or in the Hispaniola, they did it this way, I really don't care how they did it there. I got to worry about how we have to do it in my house. I can listen to your example and I can try to learn and I can try to follow. I can try to emulate. But maybe everything is not going to work for everyone. And just responding to whether or not we have the men there, I am the product of a two-family household. And the reason I have never said I do is because I don't. When I say I do, I will. And the reason I have not said it is because I have not met that man who is my true mate and can meet me on all levels. And I know what those levels are. Why? Because I have been happily single on Saturday night, on Sunday night, on Monday night, on Tuesday, a couple of Wednesday mornings.
If I can go back to just when you were asking about like why are we single, I think a lot of people are dishonest. There's a lot of dishonesty, and I don't think people get to take the time out to really know themselves and know what they want. So I think a lot of people jump into relationships quick because maybe the person is cute or for whatever reasons, and they end up being single because this wasn't a good person for them, but they chose to accept it out of loneliness maybe, or out of just wanting to have somebody. So I think that's maybe one of the reasons that play into why there's a lot of single women out here now, because we rush or we want relationships so bad and then it ends up being bad. So then we lie in a relationship because we don't be honest about the things that may hurt us, and guys don't always be honest about the fact that they really may not be into us and they choose to stay with us and cheat and things like that. So in the end result, we end up single again.
I see there's a serious disconnect here, and I heard a lot of clapping from the audience from, I'm assuming, what would be single women, and I think we need to really focus and define what are eligible, because you were saying a lot of things about what's not out here, the incarcerated men, the uneducated men, the criminals. Okay, they're out there, but there are men like myself, there are many of my frat brothers, my friends, my people in my church who are actively looking for wives to put a ring on the finger of. And that's what I think a lot of women are not understanding, and they are not being that woman. So yeah, you can say you're happily single, but until you be that woman that these men want to marry, you'll be single indefinitely. You understand what? So I would like to go around and ask my man, and as well as some other fellas in the audience, what do black men look for in a wife? Because I think we can't go any further until we define that. Let's start with my man over here. Here, take this one.
Well, me, for instance, like if I'm dating, I'm going to date, you know, and hopefully it'll be fun. But I know that God's got somebody good for me, you know, and I look forward to that. But until I'm ready, you know, he's not going to bless me with that. So I'm not even going to speak on that right now. And I just look forward to the day that I do meet that soulmate. But as far as like what I'm looking for in a woman, I mean, it's what every guy wants. It's the full package if you're attracted to her. You know, she doesn't even have to be a model with stilettos on. She could be just that, you know, that. She's got that it. You know, she could, you know, want to cater to me and just be a woman.
But with him saying that, right, I'm going to just say this. He's saying to us, he's not ready. But let a shorty come down the street. He going to kick game to her as if, and he going to kick game to her to get her draws and then say, and then try to get it, and he not going to tell her the truth. I ain't really ready. I'm really a baby. I really want a baby. He's not going to tell her all that. So now he going to go around getting somebody all hurt up. He going to be like, you know you going to do it. I know. I ain't making you the bad guy. I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to make you the bad guy. You just hooked me there. I'm sorry. It was like, oh, my bad. I went somewhere. But I went to the place that's the truth. You're the guy that's going to go out there and try to get the woman's draws, and then you're going to do everything you can. You're going to game her up, and at the end of the day, you're going to realize you know that's not your wife. So look at, that's why we're single. There you go. He just answered that. That's why we single.
Let me do this. Let me. This is what I'll do. This is what we're going to go down the line, and then I want to hear from some other men. And let me just put my views as far as what I look for as the married man, the resident married guy here on the panel, and then we can kind of see how accurate those are, or how shared those views are. I believe, and what I look for are three things in a woman. When I was single,
He did say that when he was single. He did say that.
Thank you. When I was single, the three things that I looked for in a wife were a great personality, a high level of respectability, and 100% what I call emotional availability. What I mean by that is, you know, a lot of women out here, like Shelly was talking about, have been damaged, have suffered from abandonment issues, trust issues, having sex with somebody, still in love with an ex from high school or something of that sort. And that's not what men are looking for. We're looking for you to be totally available, for me to give my heart to you, for you to give your heart to me, and we don't want to deal with all the extra stuff. So those three things I found in today's society among single women are absolutely, you know, you might find someone with a great personality, someone with, you know, respectable, dressed like, you know, yourself, but there's one of those things that's not going to be there. So, and the Bible even says, who can find a virtuous woman? Which pretty much means what is pretty rare. But Jade, please.
No, what was the question? It went so many different places.
I know. What do you think that black men look for in a wife?
Well, like I said, I actually wanted to know. So I talked to a lot of different black men. My dad said that he wanted somebody who could compliment him. He knew that he had certain strengths and he knew he had certain weaknesses. And when he met my mom, that was it. They was together. They met one day and they was together ever since. I think, I'm not gonna put their business out there. I think my mom is in the building, but they was together for a long time. You know, for 20 years. She was just compatible for him. Other men that I've talked to have said that they want something that they can handle, a woman who knows her place, who knows how to be in a relationship, who, like you said, is available, a woman who they could respect, like they respect their mother. And my comment to all those things is that it's a growth process, and I think because of the things that you spoke about, where you don't see a lot of good situations, and so as black women we may not see a lot of good things. It's a big growth process. We have to get to that point. A lot of women in this room may not even be to that point where they are emotionally available or in a place where they fully understand, this is me, this is my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and boom, I can be available to someone regardless. I know my value. A lot of people in this room don't know their value. So I mean, that's what I've heard, and that's what I think is the issue, that women we aren't ready for several reasons, but like one of the reasons you said, and maybe others.
We're going to quickly wrap it up and go to a break. We're going to hear from Reverend Michael Heath, and then we're going to go to the gentleman in the back.
Thank you, Reverend Michael Heath, happily married. I think the problem is multifolded. First of all, there's no one perfect wife, one perfect husband. We're all individuals. So it's a matter of compatibility with the other person that we're with. I say to my wife all the time, there's no perfect people, but you are the perfect woman for me. Because God knew exactly what I needed and gave me exactly what I needed. But I think the bigger problem is, speaking to what several people have alluded to, is that, and I respect Just Frank because he can admit he's not ready. And when you love somebody, and when we say we love, the main attribute of love, I always say, is giving. The main attribute of lust is taking. And unless we are ready to be no longer selfish at all and totally and completely give ourselves, as you talked about, total emotional availability, but give everything, then we're not really in the place where we're ready to enter into that covenant relationship. Again, to go biblical for a second, God so loved the world that he gave. Parents, we love our children, so we give. So if we enter a relationship with anything that's about me, then I don't believe that we're ready. What I looked for when I was single was not about how good my wife could cook or how good she could clean or any of those things. I wanted somebody with a heart for God. Because if you have a heart for God and love God, then my wife will love me, which she does. She will respect me as the man, as the head of the household, and will allow me to be the priest of my home. Because again, and this is where brothers have an issue, the Bible says, husbands, love your wives even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for the church. That's a self-sacrificing, putting my needs and wants secondary to theirs. However, when she loves me as her head, she will be submissive and will follow me. So again, I think it's really kind of multifolded, but ultimately, God has to have your heart right.
Yeah, definitely clap for that. Clap for that. And if I could just co-sign that real quick. That's the main thing as we transition into the respectability piece of it. You know, you got to have a heart for God. Most men it's funny, women will say, I want a godly man. But they themselves are coming off in a way that they would not be seen as a godly woman. So as a result, they get treated in an ungodly way. So I think what we need to talk about next is how your outward appearance, these styles of dress, the tights, the booty out, the excessive amounts of cleavage. There are very few single black women in today's society that dress like someone's mother, like someone's future mother of their children, future wife. And that we see a lot of the Beyoncés out there, head full of weaves, tight, high heels, leopard skin tights. I know. And let's keep it moving, but.
Okay, you're watching Single on a Saturday Night. When we come back, you'll hear from one of the gentlemen in the audience, and we'll also, see what he's talking about with the weave. Because you know what, I'm unbelievable right now. We're gonna figure out what he's talking about on this. But you're watching Single on a Saturday Night, taped live right here at Keya Gray's Steak and Seafood Restaurant. Special thanks to everyone who helps put the show together, each and every person on this panel. We thank you so much, and let's check out a video. Want to see a video? Let's go to a video. Thank you.
Special thanks to Q's Hair Boutique, located at 5815 North Broad Street, Philadelphia, PA. Q's Hair Boutique is a full-service salon providing the star treatment for any occasion. Please don't look any further for your next hair appointment. Call Q's Hair Boutique. That's 215-668-9800. In true celebrity fashion, Austin Photography snapped beautiful candids of all the Single on a Saturday Night group. Austin Fine Photography is located at 4221 Main Street. If you would like to feel like a star, please call Austin Fine Photography at 267-297-7895.
This is Single on a Saturday Night, and as you can see, we've been having some pretty spirited debates, discussion on why so many single black women find themselves single. We're going to get ready to wrap this show up tonight, but before we do that, we want to go ahead and get a few comments from our audience here. And I just want to take a walk over to this young woman right here and if you could do me a favor and stand up for the camera, do you mind? See, this is a great image of a respectable, classy, beautiful woman. Okay, let's give her a hand if we could for a second. You understand? And as a single man 5 years ago, this would be a good indication of what these black men are out here looking for. Not the excessive amounts of cleavage, the booty popping out. That is what black men see an abundance of. And I'm sorry, I just want to compliment you and say kudos to you for your appearance.
Thanks. My name is Livin, and I just wanted to address a couple of people on the panel. We spoke about men not being available for various reasons, and this young man spoke about babysitting. I think one of the main problems is with our men today is the women that raise them. A lot of women raise men and never let them go. They never let them become men. If they're a single parent, they hold on to their young man as if that was their man, if they don't have a man. I see this all the time. They never let them accept their responsibility. So if they don't let them accept their responsibility in the beginning, how are they going to be responsible as the head of the house with their woman? Because the mother is always the one that they run back to ask for advice. After high school, you have to let them go and let them become who they're going to become. Let them bump their hair. Let them, don't take on their babies. They have one baby, then the mother's raising them, instead of letting them take on the responsibility. But I know we're caught on time, but those were one of the things. That's one of the things that I wanted to touch on. And there are a lot of great men out here, but the women need to know who they are first, and then that way, it can make for good.
Thank you so much. I see some other hands in the audience. Unfortunately, for this segment, we have to get ready to wrap it up. But I thank everyone for coming. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Miss Shelley Williams to close this out.
All right, this was the first edition of Single on a Saturday Night. We'd like to thank everybody. We were taping live right here at Keya Gray's Seafood and Restaurant, 10 North 9th Street in Darby, PA. The next week's topic, we're going to continue this, so everyone will have a chance to really talk about what they want to talk about. We're going to end this for this week, and we thank you. We thank Jade, Austin, Dedan, Susan, Melisha, Miss K, and Frank. So you, all these names, all right. Oh, that's his name. Oh, just Frank. Just Frank. Anyway, we'd like to thank you. Single on a Saturday Night. Let's check out a word from our sponsor right now, and we're coming back.
Greetings, my brothers and sisters. This is Pastor Michael Heath, Senior Pastor of Living Waters Ministries in Collindale, Pennsylvania, with your 1-minute inspirational segment for Urban Expressions. The Bible tells us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, which simply means that God has created each and every one of us as individuals. We're not like anybody else. We're not supposed to be like anybody else. That's why when you look around, there's nobody that looks like you. There's nobody that's quite like you. It's not a mistake that you are a one of a kind. So what God wants you to do is to build a relationship with Him, not based on what others think of you, but based on who you are. So come on out to Living Waters, where we try to create an atmosphere where everybody is able to be themselves, able to be an individual, able to engage in that place with Christ. It doesn't matter where you've been, what you've done. I say every Sunday that God never stops loving you. So it's just a matter of coming to a place where we can communicate with Him. So join us every Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m., Living Waters Ministries. We worship in the main sanctuary of the Collindale First Church of the Nazarene, 212 McDade Boulevard, Collindale, Pennsylvania. Check us out online at www.livingwaterspa.org. I want to see you in the place as we engage in this journey together. Come to Living Waters and let the wave overtake you.